The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amber News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amber TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amber TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team. The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amber News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
Global greetings, Ambazonians, and welcome to this program. Today, we're going to talk about the negotiation table. And as most of you know, last Tuesday, when I came on board, I talked to you about a new program, which will be starting today, Friday. So this is the inaugural program where we're going to talk to you the groundwork about negotiations and to talk about what is the process all about. So today I would like to talk about we would like to talk about what the negotiation process is, and we're going to identify uh, various steps and very critical steps that need to be accomplished in order to have a good negotiation. Before I go to that, I would like to actually introduce you to our Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, uh, Dr. Elad. Welcome, Dr. Elad. Can you hear me, Dr. Elad? Hello. Hello, can Dr. Elad hear me?
Yes, you just have to move on. I think he will be connecting soon.
Oh, okay. Uh, right. So just to talk about what is, we are going to talk about two very important items today: the mediation process and what it takes for it to work. We also talk about diplomatic outreach, and I think Dr. Elad, if he's on board, we can jumpstart the process. Dr. Elad, can you hear me now?
Well, I can hear you 5 on 5. Um,
Okay, yes, welcome, Dr. Elad. I'm
well,
happy that you're here. Yes, I think we'll start by, I think we have to introduce Dr. Elad. I think, can you please at least introduce yourself to Amazonians?
well, I hope the Amazonians still remember who is Dr. Elad. Yes, this is Dr. Elad, the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, the interim government of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. So I think that is enough for now for the introduction, and as we go on, we can know more and know me more. Can you get
Just
me?
to give it,
Okay.
yes, 5 on 5, I can get you. Okay, thanks, Dr. Elad. I'm today the host. It's not an easy task to do. So I'm going to give just a rundown, a summary of what I talked to you about last week. We say negotiations is an inevitable process in any liberation movement or any liberation struggle, which must end on a table. And we said last week, in order to accomplish it, we need partners, we need the international community, and we need the interim government. And it's important that in the process of negotiations, we have to buy in, people have to buy into this process. The Ambazonian people have to buy into this process. We also have to understand that the reason why we do this is because there are lessons learned from other negotiations. So it's not something that you can just sit behind it in a closed house and then sign papers and go out and declare that we've negotiated as we've seen in the past. It doesn't work that way. So we have to learn from other negotiations in the past, which have come as a result of a liberation movement. And we also have to understand that we have friends of Ambazonia who will be very willing to give us their opinions and their recommendations as to how this negotiation can go the right way. So, in order to avoid confusion, we would like in the course of time, in the course of the weeks and months to come, we'll be inviting specific experts, and we call upon even Ambazonians who are experts in negotiations to come and share their opinions with Ambazonians, and to make sure that at the end of this negotiation, we should have a comprehensive negotiated settlement and have the guarantors who will help in implementation. So this is the long and short of it. We also know that even in the course of negotiation, we have to define the role of women. We know that this negotiation, women will play a very big part. Civil societies will play a very big part. Churches and so on and so forth, they will play a very big part. And we also have to understand the role of the principal, who will be the person sitting on the table on the one side and on the other, the opponent, or in this case, we have La République and Ambazonia. So we have to understand that negotiations take place between two parties, two opposing parties, so that they can work out their differences and make sure that peace reigns thereafter. So today is very important, and that's where I think our Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Elad, will be very helpful, because he has been the champion working on our behalf on the international front. So he is going to talk to us about two very important things, to clarify Ambazonians on two very important items. And I would like him to talk about, one, what is negotiation? We talk about facilitation, where they bring the protagonists together, and they decide that one person who's supposed to be neutral is going to take over the mediation process. And we know the challenges of the mediator in terms of not being a bully, not being a policeman, and making sure that he treats both parties fairly, not keeping back critical information that is important for both parties. So that person should be a very good tactician to understand that nobody feels that he or she is unfair to the process. So I am going to turn over to Dr. Elad. First, he has to talk to us about mediation, and he will talk about the diplomatic outreach. Over to you, Dr. Elad.
So, thank you very much, SLS Mungwa. And first of all, greetings to all the audience. And I want to send a special salute to all those who are back in Ambazonia and in Ground 2. Special greetings to our restoration forces, those who are really holding the ground and keeping it hot. And I want to thank them very much for their services. In fact, today I'm going to make them know that they are doing they are keeping the ground hot, while we are also negotiating and making the diplomatic outreach here. So we should work hand in hand on what they're doing. So 21 gun salute to all of them back there, all our mothers who are really struggling today to make it. We know about what is going on in the world, the food crisis, how high life is strong everywhere. And if we are feeling the pinch here in the diaspora, you can know how our families are back home, what they are undergoing. So without much ado, let me come to your monologue about negotiation and mediation. Well, negotiation is simple, as he said, is to negotiate. And in non-political talk on negotiation, we say you give what you don't want. But that is just to make the things start going hard. In the real sense, I want to say there is a lot of confusion. There's the Amazonians, a lot of Amazonians really mistook the idea of mediation. The same thing I saw when this phase of the revolution, the never again generation that we call ourselves, when we started this revolution, a lot of people were thinking there's something that is going to happen in the 1 year. I mean, even 1 year was so long. They were thinking in a few months or so, we're going to have our independence and everything will fine. I can remember the first October that we celebrated here in Berlin. In fact, you cannot count the crowd that was here in Berlin. It was like nobody can count sun. But immediately that day that they came out in their masses and they saw that it was not their expectation, everybody went back into his or her holes. And the same thing is with mediation. You've heard a lot. People talk, why are we not talking? Why are we not sitting on the table? When are we going to sit on the table? Well, look, This is a process. And as you rightly said, we learn from others. This is a process that comes with, I will be very, very adamant in saying that, with some luck in it. If you're lucky enough, yours can be short. If you're not, yours can be long. As well as Mungwa, let me just give an example of what is happening in Ukraine today. You see, Ukraine has been struggling to join European Union for 30 years, for more than 38 years now. Yeah, 38 years, if I will be precise. And it's just yesterday that their application was accepted. It has been accepted yesterday. So now the process begins. It can take another 20 years before they will join or not join. They will be agreed in or not agreed. So this is a process. It's the same like mediation, negotiation. We have been waiting since June 19, it was June 19, 2019, or the June 27, 2019. We have been waiting for La Republique to come on the table. And while we are waiting, it's our place to be preparing ourselves. A lot of people see politics as a facade. You know, when you see a very beautiful house, you always exclaim, say, wow, this house is beautiful. But you don't know what is inside. Maybe the inside is scattered like whatever, but you see it from outside. And that's how a lot of people see politics. We are on this negotiation process, which is the mediation has been accepted. And it's time for us to prepare. While we sit down and complain every day that La Republique is not coming to the table, they are behind preparing themselves. Some of us are seeing right inside La Republique du Cameroon what they're doing. All what they're doing is preparing themselves and timing us to see how disorganized and disorderly we are, in order to find that pivot point and say, okay, we are coming today, when we are not ready. So this is all what? Mediation is the level ground that is being done by a neutral body in order to bring both sides of conflict together. Nobody, the mediator has absolutely no right. The wrongness that I've seen in Amazonia is that some people say, why do the Swiss don't bring the La Republique to the table? Why can't the Swiss bring? No. If I always ask a question, if we, the Amazonians, don't want to go to the table, is the Swiss going to force us there? No, they cannot. We have accepted, we have told the Swiss that we're ready. La Republique has accepted the mediation, but has never told the Swiss that they are ready. And they are preparing themselves. So it's a process, and the process has stages. And the stages are being followed day after day. And while we sit down and complain and make noise, that is how La Republique is getting up. Because when I say make noise, I use this in context, because for the past time, I think people have not seen Dr. Elad, and they say, oh man, why are you so quiet? Why are you not coming out? We have not heard from you, this and that. Because I told them, because you guys like people who talk what is not necessary. I don't have anything to tell you people, and you want to hear from me. You just want noise. So this is what we are talking now. And this is the right time for Amazonians to listen, that a lot of things are going behind the scene. We're doing a lot of work behind the scene in order to make sure that mediation and the negotiation takes place. And it is a call now for all Amazonians. If you have an idea of negotiating, if you have learned negotiation, if you are a mediator, because we have a lot of intellectuals in our midst, but they're just sitting at the side and looking for others to do the job. Come up, contact me, contact the president, and we will make sure we include you into our team for us to go ahead and prepare well to meet with La Republique. I've not said we are not prepared, but I use the word to prepare well. If you want to do anything better in an academic world and something that needs brains, you have to read, read, and read. There is no time you will stop to say, okay, we have reached every day things changes. As the war is going now in Ukraine, it also influenced the process of negotiation between Amazonia and La Republique du Cameroon. So there is it's intertwined. So there is nothing that is independent from each other. All are dependent on what the situation is going now. You can see, for example, immediately the war in Ukraine started, they started discriminating some blacks and Arabs and Indians and whatever. We came up, we made noise, we wrote letters, and there were TBS. It came up. Those are processes. Without this war in Ukraine, this TBS that is now in the USA, although, and I will openly and I say it bluntly here that although the Amazonians who are suffering are not the one getting benefit on that TBS, but we are still following up behind to make sure that it is done the right way. So I think for now I will stop, and if there is any more question you have, SOL Mungwa, please let's. This is not a monologue. This should be a dialogue. We are conversing
Right.
now, so I don't want to dominate
Thank
the
you.
platform by.
Thank you, Dr. Elad. I think you have actually spoken and given the details about what the mediation is all about. Fellow Amazonians, I think we have our foreign expert here, Dr. Elad, and I'm so happy that after driving for 6 hours today, you may not know, he came and was ready to come on board. So we should really thank him for his patriotism. The second thing I would like Dr. Ella to talk about is actually the diplomatic outreach. I understand that you've been at the forefront of contacting different diplomatic agencies. And if you don't mind, can you please talk to us about the diplomatic outreach for Amazonians to understand?
Amazonians, we have always, I know Amazonians hate this statement that diplomacy is always silence. I know where it pinches the Amazonian people, but take it, and as you rightly said, I like your monologue when you started. You said, you made a statement that we, what was trying to say? Sorry. Well, you just said, you made a statement that we need to know a lot of things. Yes.
Right.
Amazonians are eager. Amazonians are eager to know what is going on. You made a statement in the beginning that we have to learn from other people. But the thing that we Amazonians, we don't like to do is to look the process of things being done, be it the government, be it in economics, be it in history, whatever the geography of things, to also integrate it in our system of doing our own job. And you can, as I said, nobody is independent. This world can never be an independent, a country cannot be independent from what is happening. You cannot say, oh, that is happening in Russia, it doesn't affect us. No, we are all an, let me say, an ecosystem. Take the USA that a lot of you are there. How many times do you see Antony Blinken going out and explaining the diplomatic moves that are being done by the USA? When was TBS or ever announced that it is being carried out, being followed up, and it will come out someday? Before we heard it, people just heard about it. So these are things that people have to know. Yes, diplomacy And I will say it, as I said bluntly here, anybody who comes out and be explaining what diplomatic move they have done, who they have met, how many people they have met, and where was their meeting and all those, is not a diplomat and knows nothing about diplomacy. It's not for nothing that when we meet people, they tell us we will not like to hear our name out there. We will not like to see our pictures out there. We want to walk behind the scene. We want to work secretly in doing things. And it's not, I think the president is not mad to keep the diplomatic team that has been working with him from the day one. So there is something that is happening, but the hungry of Ambazonian people to get what is happening is there. If I was not the one doing also the diplomatic move, I think I will be eager. I will really want to know what are these people doing? How far have we gone? Who have we contacted? No, but please listen. Your diplomatic team is working tirelessly, day in, day out, morning, evening. Look, we are now entering the weekend, but on Sunday, I'm not having a weekend because I'm traveling to meet very important personalities. Next week, some of them are coming to Berlin. We will be meeting. Let me give a program. People can spy on what I'm doing. In I think 2 or 3 weeks, others are traveling to the USA, meeting with the president. So these are moves, they don't just come like that. Somebody don't just sit up, pick his or her phone and say, "Oh, Dr. Elad, I would like to talk with you people. I'm bored. I don't have people to talk to." No, it's a diplomatic outreach that we're doing in order to make sure we get those people who can press the button wherever it is being pressed so that we can foster and foster our independence. So we're working hard. I'm sorry that I cannot sit down here and do what I'm not supposed to do. There is something called political correct, but let me put it that if I do that, it will be politically incorrect. It's not supposed to be done like that. I know when Thibonage came out and announced that we have never met him. Oh, there was a row. I saw my name here and people talking, abusing. Oh, this one has not done anything for diplomacy. It's all type of abuses. Oh man, I am who am I? I am who I am. Just a rock. That those things have been just scratch and fall away. That will not push me. I was just talking to a very strong Ambazonia woman today who is so discouraged, and I will openly say has dropped out of the struggle. And when she mentioned to me today that the best thing that has ever happened to her is that she is out of the revolution. But she was shocked to hear me tell her it's only death that will take me out of this revolution. There is just nothing that will stop me from this revolution. And she said, okay, you guys go ahead. When we get our independence, all of us will go to Boya. I said, of course. And I gave an example of a football team. If Ambazonia is playing, there will be 25 players, which is 11 playing on the pitch and some reserves and those who are on the team that are not playing. So if Ambazonia wins, we won. We is we. Not the 11 people playing there. If they lose, we lose. We. It's not the 11 people there. It's us, you know? So, and this is how this revolution goes. The bad thing in the revolution is that a lot of people think you for following crowd makes us move. No. I, for one, I don't follow crowd. People used to ask me, Dr. Elad, who's are you there on? I asked you, how did you call me? You call me Dr. Elad. Tell people who don't know the meaning of a doctor, a PhD holder. This is a research that you looked into what people have done, and then you have to find something that you see that they have not been able to prove it, and then you take that thing like a nucleus and try to produce your own research on it to make sure the world knows that this thing was done like this, it was supposed to be like this, and it has not been proved. And from my own point of where I end, another people would take it from there and continue.
Right.
So you cannot ask me where you are and you call me Dr. Elad, because some people don't really know that title or that academic grade. I don't call it title, it's an academic grade. People don't really put it on their brain. They just use it like a title. There was somebody who called Dr. Abega Teofil. He has never been a doctor. He's never been in school, but he had that title. So I think they just use it unknowingly. Coming back to diplomacy, that is something that is very bulky and whining and difficult. We are non-stakeholders. Ambazonia people, you listen. We are non-stakeholders. La République is stakeholder. La République has been existing for 60 years in the forefront, trying to shadow us, covering Amazonia. So for now, we are coming out of that cloud that La République put upon us. And it's difficult. Imagine when there is a dark cloud coming and you enter there with your car and you find yourself coming the other side, the cloud is going behind. It's difficult to catch a cloud. So we are catching the cloud now. And we have to make sure we do it tactfully and not in a hush, not in a haste, because as we used to say, there's a statement that we used to use as we were children. I've forgotten this. Hurry, hurry, broke pot or something like that. For those who are out there listening, you can correct me. Sorry for that. It's long time we
It's
left.
okay. It's all right.
Yeah. So we don't need to hurry. We have to go systematically. And
All
that is
right.
what the president is trying to put it in place, working daily, tirelessly, and we're working on that. We are on the path. I would not say we are reaching there. We are on the path and we are moving smoothly. We have absolutely no obstacle on our way, how far we have gone.
Thank you. Oh, Ambazonians, at least you've heard from the expert. I think there's something I have to say to you about Dr. Elad. This is one of the great Ambazonians who has a backbone. And I mean it. This is a person, I don't know whether we can have his duplicate as we speak for what he has done. Dr. Elad speaks English, French, German, Polish, and Russian. And not only does he speak, he practices as a lawyer in all these languages. So know who is Dr. Elad. He's not just any ordinary Ambazonian. And I would like you to know who this gentleman is. So when he speaks, you listen. He is one of our finest. Fellow Ambazonians, I think we have listened to Dr. Elad talk about mediation and the challenges that surround mediation. Mediation, in a good mediation, we need a neutral arbiter. And now we do have a neutral arbiter. And that arbiter is neither a policeman or somebody who is a bully to tell people what to do. We understand that. And we also understand that in order to accomplish some of the challenges that lie ahead, we need diplomatic outreach. And that's where Dr. Elad has used his expertise, not only in law, but in the mastery of foreign languages. I don't know any other Ambazonian who can speak French, English, German, Polish, and Russian and practice in these languages. So this is why we believe that the interim government has the intellectual capacity to execute this revolution. And I want to make this very clear. So he talked about expertise, Ambazonians who have expertise in negotiations, and I know we do have them. They may be silent in the background. This is time for you to help us go through the final hurdle. So it is very important in terms of educating our people, in terms of telling us some of the pitfalls that we should avoid. And I would also like an expert, if hopefully a lady, to talk about the role of women in negotiations. It is very important. Let's not forget the fact that women have played a leading role and they have borne the brunt of the of all the atrocities that have been committed on our people at the home front. So, and I believe that because we do have another program, a sister program called Horizon, I'm sure that platform will entertain maybe female experts or women experts who can talk to the women folk and of course Ambazonians at large on the role of women. So this is what we have for you. Hopefully in the weeks and months to come, there will be additional information that will bring to your attention and to give the opportunity for Ambazonians to ask questions. The reason why we are doing this is to make sure that when La Republique comes and starts spreading false information, Ambazonians should say, we have the facts and we are going to behave accordingly. It's all about fact. So when we get educated, nobody will deceive us. It is very important. And that's what the IG is here to do. So I think I am, or we are, open for questions from the public, if there are any, to ask Dr. Elad, who is sitting in front of us today, so that he can clarify certain things that you might be anxious to know. So I think if they can display the phone number on the screen for people to call, I will be able to take the call here, and Dr. Elad hopefully should be able to answer them. Can we display the number on the screen? Do you want me to announce it? I think I sent out the number. Yes. Yes. Yes, Dr. Elad. You have something to say?
I'm glad you touched the point of women, the role of women, and not only the role of women, the important role of women in negotiation.
Yes.
But this sometimes is misunderstood by some women. It doesn't mean that you just take any woman and put there who have absolutely no idea and has not been devoted in this revolution. I mean, those women who are having sleepless nights and knows exactly what we stand for and where we are going should be involved in this mediation process. I mean, people talk about the role of women, the role of women. There are some women who are professors. There are others who have gone to the moon, maybe even the sun, can come back and sit down on the table and say, okay, because I'm a woman, I play a role. No, you must be involved. You must be knowledgeable on what is going on. You must have the expertise of not only negotiate, because absolutely there is nothing called an expert in negotiation. We'll learn day in, day out. As I've told you, there is no independent country that can sit down and say, we can do this. No, you take from what is happening in the world and then put it together and make it 1 + 1 to be 1. That is it. So women, please go ahead and make sure you educate, as you just mentioned, the Horizon. Make sure experts do come there and explain to people on how negotiation work. And it's always a we game. It's not an I thing, it's a we thing. So we have to sit together, talk among ourselves, play the roles of La République and Amazonia and another arbitraries before we come up to what we are taking on that table. I don't care whether La République are listening to what I'm saying and take our knowledge to go and form their own group. They know it. They listen to us. They follow us, and that is what they are doing. But we cannot hide from them. They have to know that we're preparing ourselves day in, day out. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Elad. I think I will start by asking my own question. Dr. Elad, I mean, from your expertise, what can you say about the role of civil society? I understand that there have been some religious leaders trying to take over the whole so-called negotiation process and probably twisting it to fit the agenda of La République. Do you have any word to say on that?
Well, as you have heard, that's how I've heard it too. But you and me, or even a group of people from the interim government, cannot just go and sit on the table and decide on behalf of Amazonia. That is where the key is lost. The negotiation process must be accepted by the people of Amazonia. And when we say the people of Amazonia, we don't mean that all the 8 million Amazonians must say yes. And there is nothing called the majority. So those who stands for total unconditional independence, when they are for the negotiation, then it goes ahead.
Okay.
There are the civil societies in the real sense are supposed to play very important role in negotiation, because you have to contact the churches, you have to contact the trade union, you have to contact all those groups that are existing in civil society. But the one that La Republic is doing is just their normal way of doing things. They have gotten the point. They know what they are doing. Why do we know that? Because that is like part of diplomacy. If you see them trying to give someone, I don't want to call somebody's name in order to promote names here. But if you see they're giving the opportunity to someone to go ahead and take over this, it will not work. They have done everything. La Republic has done everything. It has never worked. So not this one is going to work. Well, people should worry. I would say people should worry just because of their time being delayed with La Republic trying to do everything. There is nobody down there who is dining with La Republic du Cameroon who can sit down and make any negotiation and decide. We don't speak among ourselves. And that is what the president has been making clear. And we have made the Swiss government that initiated this process of negotiation to know that you don't bring so-called, I would call it so-called Anglophones to sit down with Anglophones and talk. We are talking with La République du Cameroon. We, the so-called, I will use that word, I call it so-called Anglophones, can sit among ourselves and decide what we want to talk with La République du Cameroon. We don't sit among ourselves because I used to see like Agbobala run, as I didn't want to call names, Agbobala running here and there, and Bishop Kea doing all that. They are just delaying the process. They're trying to see, Sometimes we give them the opportunity. When we start cracking among ourselves, they say, okay, those guys are trying to broke themselves up, so you can go now penetrate and see. But immediately they go, we join, and their work is obsolete. They can't do anything anymore. They know in them that they cannot do anything, because The Swiss that is now standing as the key negotiator. I mean, they are the key organizers of the mediation and negotiation process. Cannot tell us that, okay, we have spoken with these people and this is what they want and that's how you're going to take it. They cannot do that. They know that. We talk with them daily. I mean, I can say that daily. Yeah, it can be 2 days, 3 days, a week, but we talk with them often. And they know very well that all what they are doing. And another thing Amazonians should know very well, negotiation doesn't mean that the Swiss is talking only to Amazonians or La République du Cameroon. No. They have the right to talk to any group that they want to talk. Nobody can control them. And that is the process and complexity of negotiation. Because once some people out there see the Swiss meeting with this group of people, they start making, oh, it's this and that and that. No, it's the right to do that. And that is the process. Accept it like that. Sit down, fall back, take your stand, prepare your own self, and wait for the time that the Swiss talk with you. And then you give them your own position where we stand. Stop looking who they are talking with. They can talk with whatever group they are meeting. That does not change our process. So, Mr.
Just a moment. Thank you.
So
We
I
have a
think
caller here. Yes, we have a caller on the line. Caller, this is Achondu Nelson. Achondu Nelson, how are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Los Angeles.
Okay, okay, right. Achondu Nelson is calling from Los Angeles. Okay, the line is yours.
So first, I want to thank you for taking the call.
You're welcome.
For the great job you are doing, and also thank Dr. Elad.
You're welcome.
I have 2 questions here.
Yes.
That I want to ask Dr. Elad.
Yes.
And I now go to my vernacular.
Okay.
Say, some people, the day of the opinion, say, make all of us who will fight for Amazonia, we will go join for the arm together, talk with La République for table. And we then group them, like ADF, for example, where they don't commit atrocities, where they admit them, can confirm them for outside it. And where now things that where they be against international humanitarian atrocities, where those things then they feel play negatively on our own part. So if you support so people like ADF, where they kidnap people, cut for their own head and other kind of people, the TCB, they come join with for the negotiation. I mean, work together with them. And then the second question I say, we know say will be a country, will get a government. And some people, they still talk, say, they don't want no government. I don't see like Yukta pay them and the other people, them, they talk, say, no, they want make now a restoration, a revolutionary council where it be short of a government. So, Elad, if there is a possibility, say, we fit meet up La République, not as a government, not as a country, like a mere revolutionary council, where be like Anglophone, then how we can get the independence? So now the 2 questions, and that way I want to ask them for you. And say, if you get something, advice for give Amazonia people, them, say, if they get 10 factions, them, the enemy in La République, why someone then they will go take their time, they spend them for the fight now,
okay.
Interim government. Thank you.
Thanks, UN. Dr. Ella, did you get the 2 questions, or you want me to summarize it for you?
Very well, I got it.
Okay. Okay, over to you, Dr. Ella.
Yes. When it comes, may we sit down together, talk to La République. Now, some big word that when they say sit down together, I don't mean say you take people the way native people, terrorists them, whether they get their own aim for fight. apart from where we stand for, join them together. You know, take for example the FARC group for Colombia. That when they want to sit down for discourse with their the Colombian government, they not be go bring those people that they deal with cocaine, smuggle them to the USA for can't join them. All those people, no, they're not be joining with them. They bring the people with their ideology. Yeah, those people where they deal with cocaine and all those other people, them the same like we Amazonians. We have the interim government. We have other groups where they get their own agenda. We will talk say we be the same biology, but will be different ideology. So we are talking of meeting with the same ideologies. Those who stand for coming to the point where people, I will join the question, the answer together, because coming to the point where some people they talk say they know the point of creating a government was not good. It's not good. We want a revolutionary council. If you look well for those people that bring that idea, now people where they don't ever stand for be only them be at the top. Without them, then we feel decide be with La Republic till this will end. So it's only now three people then there for those people there where the so-called revolutionary council. Now only them, or them. So any other person where you bring anything where you make sure say they're not gonna be the leaders, they'll try for one tell you other thing no fun. This interim government, the very Ayuk Tabe, the time where he will be president for the interim government, where the worker motorcade they carry for America, travel under rain and so on. You first the other people that will oppose say they no want interim government. If they talk how well they not they understand where did they go on. The other one where whole meeting for Stuttgart here, the Weber, where one revolutionary government. I don't know. Sometimes it be, they talk say when person talk say money na nothing. They feel call ambulance may take you go for psychiatrist home, go check your head. Or they say na poor man talk. Or those type of things. But in reality, people that they call this man say Honorable Weber. Now honorable for which country?
La Republique.
Good. I don't know whether not only me one I did see that thing where it happened. When you still keep that title, Honorable Weber, I know when you come out like president, they call Bill Clinton president, they call Obama president, right? Yes.
Yes.
But this is a phenomenon. This one is something else. The time of colonization, where I would say La Republique try for colonize, assimilate us. They put people then for their parliament. You don't come out, you still hold that title for La Republique because you're honorable in La Republique. You were never honorable in Boya, under Joa,
Right.
Foncha, and the rest. Right. So, I mean, when we did talk, when you want to talk, they say you did jealous. Jealous what? He has done his part. He has done something. He is, yes, he has a name in this revolution. You know if you wipe that name.
Correct.
But at times when you do things and then you want overdo them again for make sure say without you, nothing not happen. Today I'm a doctor. I have a PhD. My wish now say me my picking them pass. If some other professor, whatever, go ahead more than me if they can do that. That's my wish. It not means because I don't be a doctor, I just block the road now. No other person not going to pass me again. All my picking they will be under me. No. So he has done something. But too much now, as I be say, hurry, broke pot. They won't try for mistake. Some people in there, where they try for take it upside down. And I wish it listen to what I talk. It did like another person, Professor Anyangwe. That was my professor at the university. Now people where they don't fight for the revolution from the beginning. When somebody like Chief Godaya said when he was a young boy. Now it's time for him to sit down and advise the young one. We are not young that way, but I mean, for the moment, my young now. Where we dey now? When you don't reach on level, now Yok Tabe will be from Munchen. His statement I repeat till now. I was one of the chief organizer with Dr. Abongwa for bringing him to this country. For say, when you run this revolution, na relay. When you run,
it's not a sprint.
You don't for the next person. You the clap for back. Better person win, so that will win. But I don't see some people where they don't run. They reach for give a stick. If when I used to see some funny videos and for social media, this thing where they run, go give stick, so Pekin take your own run, it goes on different side. That video be run off. This is what some of us are doing. So, UN, let me tell you this. We are not going to sit down with those people who are the same biology with us, but different ideology. We are going to sit down with those who are the same ideology, have the same ideology with us in order to negotiate with La République du Cameroon. It's like you telling me that I'm going to sit with and or with Nkea and the rest to go and negotiate. What are then? What would you talk?
No.
One person goes and say one Cameroon.
Okay.
Then when they reach on my side, they put the blue button on my talk. I say independent. Then they will tell, okay, you see, they are not ready. That is a tactic in order to beat them. So never you fall in that trap. They will never ever beat us. We will stand for the same ideology and we will walk hand in hand with this ideology. They can form their own group and go and negotiate what they're negotiating.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you've done it excellently well. Thank you so much. I think we just have about 3 minutes to go. I don't think there's any time for any other question, but I'm very happy with the question that UN asked. Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Elad. I'm so excited to be here with you today, and I'm very happy with what you've told the Ambazonian people. This is just the beginning of another journey that we all have to walk together. We have to walk hand in hand. We have to understand where the obstacles are. We have to teach each other. We have to make sure that those who are weak, we can help them. We have to make sure that the strong protect us. So this is the final lapse of this this journey we started 61 years ago. And fellow Ambazonians, we've come at a point where you have the opportunity to know what negotiations are all about. We have to understand what are the lessons learned, what are the possible obstacles, and what is the role of women, what's the role of civil society, and how do the other so-called groups supposedly fighting for our liberation, where do they stand? Where do they come into this negotiation process? But one thing we've learned is that there is a principle, and that principle is Dr. Samuel Ekome Sako. He is the one to lead that delegation to go and meet with La République for our final liberation and independence. And we very hope that ultimately we are going to have a comprehensive package which will be followed by having guarantors so that the implementation process is pursued. We know what happened in Fumban where it was botched, and I believe that it was done deliberately when Amadou Ahidjo took Britain to court because La République lost Northern Cameroon. And we all know that because Ahidjo never paid any visit to England, which is very curious why he did not do that. Many of us did not know until we started looking into the archives. So, fellow Ambazonians, this is the end of the program, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is not the end of it. Next week and the weeks to come, we'll be having different experts to come on this platform or similar platforms to talk about the negotiation process. And so all I can say is that I hope you enjoyed it and look forward to talking to you again next week. Good night and goodbye.
France-Afrique, literally meaning France and Africa melded into one term, refers to France's powerful, inseparable synergy with its former empire in the African continent. It revolves around political and economic patronage, as well as military cooperation. For decades, the doctrine allowed the French to maintain their grip on Africa, affecting its former colonies to the nucleus, while being invisible to